Good morning, everybody. It's nice to be with you. I apologize to those that are doing the sound and audio for this forum because of the cough that I've not been able to navigate these sudden dramatic weather changes for some reason this year. But please bear with me. I apologize for my scratchy voice, and we'll see how long it holds out. I hope that you have gotten a sense of the passion that comes to the work that has been presented to you so far. I think that's the uniting theme within our college and within all of the work that we do here at Utah State, that there's a passion that comes with being an Aggie to make the world a better place and to improve the quality of life. In our case, specifically for individuals with disabilities and for their family members. It's what really drives us to do the work that we do. I have the opportunity to talk to you about a couple of programs that didn't exist 20 years ago for my younger sister with intellectual disabilities. So there's often you'll find in this field an underlying connection and the lived experience that comes out and why we're doing what we do. So I'm going to blame my emotions on the allergies and the medication that I'm on currently. But it also is from the passion that comes, is behind all of the work that we do. So I have the chance to talk about the Employability Clinic and the Project Peer, which are kind of forerunners to the third program listed there, which is Aggies Elevated. And I've had the opportunity to work and be involved with each of those programs. Let me go ahead and start with a little bit about the Employability Clinic. This was a small pilot project that was started by Drs. Bob Morgan and Jared Schultz, who are faculty in the Department of Special Education and Rehabilitation, who both have a passion and a long-standing history in this area. And they began working with the local vocational rehabilitation office, particularly with, they went to the local VR office and said, we'd like to start working with some of those clients in the young adult area, which for reference is usually about 18 to 26 in the world that I live in. We kind of, young adults, emerging adults are the 18 to 26 year olds. And they wanted to improve employment outcomes for clients that were deemed complex by VR. In other words, they hadn't made a lot of progress with the regular services that were being offered by vocational rehabilitation. They'd been in services for a long time, or in and out of services regularly, and there just was not enough time for the VR counselors, who often have caseloads of 200 to 300 individuals, to really devote to these particular cases. And so Dr. Morgan and Dr. Schultz thought that we might be able to intervene at a level that would improve some of the outcomes for this population. And so they began working in 2011 with about 3 or 4 clients at a time. And you can see that over the 4 years we did the pilot, we served 17. So not a huge number, but the impact that we had on the individual level was tremendous. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. We did have 3 that came into the clinic for services that, through self-determination and life circumstances, decided that they wanted to do other things. And that was okay. Some of them decided they would prefer to be in a day treatment setting. And so they went there, and one person decided they would like to go and pursue additional education and didn't need our services to help them do that. So a little bit about the clinic. So it's a very small pilot, 2 faculty advisors, and then usually 1 or 2 doctoral students, along with 2 to 3 masters in rehabilitation counseling students. So it was an opportunity to work with those individuals that were going to go out into the VR system to be counselors, to get a little bit more robust experience working more directly one-on-one with some individuals that present some pretty complex issues. And one of the big pieces I want to point out that our clinic was able to do was really work on the family systems piece. And I appreciate what Dr. Sellers was talking about, that working in context. So we approached family systems from the idea that there's rules, roles, and boundaries that have to shift during different points in time for a family. And what we were finding is, as we would work with these individuals and be making some progress on their vocational skills and their progress towards social skills and communication, there was a shift that wasn't happening in the family with rules, roles, and boundaries. And a lot of times that would get in the way of some of the individual progress. And so we realized that if we didn't work with the family system to talk about some of the changes that as a young adult begins to go out and work and have needs for transportation and is making new friends, their world is shifting. And if the family system doesn't shift in a way that's supportive of that or that can help that growth continue, it can cause a lot of issues. And we were finding what happened in the VR system is they would make progress to a certain point, and then just because those rules, roles, and boundaries hadn't shifted, they would lose the job, they would step away from the job, and the progress would kind of stop. So that was a big component of our clinic. We would work individually in counseling settings, and we would bring in the family and do some family counseling during this process. The other piece that was nice about this pilot is we didn't have a time limitation. So typically we work with each of these clients for at least a year, if not a little bit longer. There was a lot of groundwork that needed to be done. We taught a social skills group that several of our clients would participate in multiple times. We did a lot of situational assessments. We have a fantastic community here in Logan. A lot of the local businesses have supported us to go out and to try certain settings and see the response and the behaviors that would manifest in a work environment. And through that support and through some job coaching, we were able to have 13 out of the 14 of our clients during this pilot were placed in the community. And the important piece is they were placed in an area of their preference. This wasn't just a job to have a job. This was a job that was in an area that they had expressed through our assessments and through our interviews some interest in. A couple of examples without breaching confidentiality, because it is a small community. We had one individual who loved to sew, just loved to sew and could sew for hours on end and just be immersed and just fulfilled by that experience. And that individual was able to find an opportunity to sew custom seat covers for cars. That was her dream job, to be able to go for 6 to 8 hours a day, 3 or 4 times a week, and just have a sewing machine that was always maintained and ready to go and just sew to her heart's content. You know, and that's at a competitive business, and she's paid a full wage like everybody else. And so that was fantastic. We had another individual that had a lot of circumstances in life that had made her life particularly challenging. A very chaotic home life and other things like that, that through a lot of tremendous work by those that staff the clinic and support from other community agencies was able to go on and work in a bakery type setting, which was her passion and has done so well. And there's been some information about her in some of our magazines that we put out over the years. But what a tremendous opportunity to see somebody that had essentially been written off.
Those allergies
are bad. By the system that was designed to support her, and had been kind of just relegated to a revolving door of seeing a counselor occasionally, but not making real progress. And so to see her quality of life, being able to do what she wanted to do and what she loved to do, and just to watch the development of social skills and behavior, again, is the passion that drives us to do what we do. So our state VR system has undergone some dramatic changes, and that's one of the reasons the pilot is kind of on a hiatus at this point. We would love to see this particular project, this model, be implemented at a wider scale, but we do have to kind of wait for our state office to work through some major restructuring that they've been through in the last couple of years. But we're excited about what we were able to accomplish. We think that we learned some very valuable lessons that could help us scale this up when the opportunity with the Office of Rehabilitation is there again. Let me talk, a little bit about the next project, Project Peer. And this is a fantastic project that is a collaboration between the Center for Persons with Disabilities and 2 of the local school districts. And it is designed as a post-high program. And for those of you that may not be familiar with post-high, students that receive special education services are, if they don't graduate with a regular diploma, have the opportunity to participate in continuing education from the ages of 18 to 21. And The nice thing about Project Peer, again, this Dr. Morgan was heavily involved in setting this up, and Dr. Sarah Rule, is it's a lot of post-high programs are still maintained at the high school that these individuals went to before they were 18. And there's not much of a sense of transition when your post-high program is in the high school that you just attended for the last 4 years. So the opportunity to have this located on a college campus like Utah State and be amongst their typical developing peers is a tremendous benefit. Just think about the emotional and psychological shift that is to not go back to the same high school for the 5th and 6th year, but to actually go up to Utah State University and have the opportunity to engage with peers. So this program typically serves 16 to 20 individuals a year, and at least half of those individuals have what we call an ASD diagnosis. So since the inception of the program in 2007, about 160 young adults have been through Project Peer. And I can't say enough about the instructor, Carrie Doan, who has done tremendous outreach both in the community and the university to get support for this program. One of the nice things about this particular piece is all of these students have the opportunity to do internships and employment experiences either here on campus or out in the community. And that really is kind of a really nice piece that prevents them from needing maybe the employability clinic piece, because they get a robust experience while they're in their post-high program. If you've had the chance to go around campus, you'll see a lot of our students working in different locations. Something they enjoy tremendously. They get to associate with their college-age peers, and we see a lot of development in their independent living skills and in their self-determination. And there are some things that are hard to measure, but you see the smiles on their faces. You see the ease with which they navigate this campus after they've been here for a little while. You see the relationships they make. You see the people that have come to know them, other students and faculty that see them on a regular basis, whether it's getting a cup of coffee or a pastry, and there's a relationship that develops. And again, this comes back to the quality of life that we see for these individuals. They're given an opportunity that's not widely available at this point. Having the post-high program on a college campus is best practice. There's a lot of research out there that talks about some of the benefits I've listed here. Typically, the kids that come through a program like this are more likely to be employed upon exit from a program because they've had that experience navigating basically what's a small city. There's this opportunity to navigate a social structure and an infrastructure, transportation, and all of those things that supports their independent living, supports their quality of life. And they get that for 2 years, and then they transition on to other things. So I hope you have an opportunity at some point to meet some of these students. You'll see them coming and going at all hours for their jobs. How Carrie keeps it all organized with 20 of these individuals coming. She's got this whiteboard in the room that's very impressive. And you can kind of know at any given time where everybody is. And we have a tremendous opportunity through that project, I should mention, for our undergraduates and our graduate students to get in there and teach some of these life skills, model, be peer mentors. That's a big piece of what we do. And all of the things that we've learned from both the Employability Clinic and Project Peer, I'm very excited, lead to one of our favorite projects that we all get to work on right now, which is the Aggies Elevated program. And I'm going to turn this over to Sarah Bodley and Troy Shumway to talk about that particular program. So thank you for your time.